It's Johnny, and we're going to dive into racism. I started out this morning talking about the update in Cincinnati and uh, the reasons and excuses a lot of people are given to for 12 people to stomp another man's head of a different color than you. There's a lot of entitlement. There's a lot of privilege, a lot of fatigue. But let's get into racism. First and foremost, you have no idea your history, not because they teach us nothing, not just histories. Americans don't know what's above and below them, around them. We don't know. We're eating poison. And then we're asking pharmaceutical companies for poison to fix it. It doesn't fix anything. But what year do you live in? If you just want to talk about history, oh yeah, we developed this and we built this and this is all us and this is a. First off, you don't even know what was here. We don't know what you did because we don't know what we did. They teach us nothing. But what year do you live in? It's 2025. And black Americans, 80% of black Americans assault people of another race just for skin color. They're allowed their own TV shows, their own newspapers, their own media, their own movies, their own awards, their own everything. If I was a black female, I could have went on a full ride scholarship to OU. But since I was a white male, I had to go in the military. See the difference? I'm glad we're done with that DEI, but what year do you live in? It's 2025, and everybody wants to talk about, well, in Arkansas in the 60s. In Arkansas in the 20s, my grandmother told me stories, and they were crop shares, and nobody worked on Sundays. Nobody. The Lord's Day. It's nothing like you think it is, and that came right out of my grandmother's mouth. And all they got was flour bags and sugar bags, and that's the only thing. They had to build their underwear and stuff out of these fucking bags. It's unbelievable. Nobody had any money. Who's in control of all the money? We were so broke back then that the United States filed bankruptcy and allowed our worst enemies in during the Civil War. The Civil War was about the corporation of the United States and all of its citizens losing sovereignty and losing your rights. Now you have laws. Most Americans believe we live in a nation of laws, when actually we live in a nation of rights. You have the right to travel in your personal property. Well, hold on a minute. There's laws out there that you have to pay by this, you have to do this, got to be inspected, you got to have insurance on it. Doesn't pay out 30% of the time, 70% it's negotiated when it does pay out. There's all these rules, and then they hire people. You know, you can't even travel in the United States. There's nowhere to walk. You got to walk next to the roads, next to the semis. There's no there's no fruit on any of the road. There's no food anywhere. We live on a tax plantation. But by all means, tell me about slavery. Everybody in the United States is a conquered people. Everybody. And everybody's like, oh no, you got to be on. Black Americans kill more black Americans than any other thing combined. Black Americans are out of control. And they don't have to justify. They're privileged. They're just, hey man, 12 of us jumped on this guy's head and skull, just beat him and his family almost to death because he said, because he touched, because he, they always got a reason. Well, look at the 1920, look at 1848, look at the 1500s. They have no fucking idea. They just got it. And the worst thing, the hardest part about all of it is these people that they're justifying are the people that's killing them. Black Americans, they hate white Americans, and they blame, if their car don't start, they blame white Americans. But who they hate worse is a black American that's doing it right, that has his children, has a good paying job, has a little gold, has a nice watch. Black Americans will tell you that. If they were doing right, they'd be like, man, I ain't fucking hanging out in these parts of town. Why is that? Why can we not just fix them? See, we're on to something. We just can't talk about it, or who can't talk about it, because then they're racist. LGBTQ gets 30% of our women, our population of women. Interracial gets 30%. There's only 40% left to reproduce with if a woman wanted to have a child that looks like her. Now we're getting into, why would somebody want children not to look like them? They can hide histories. If they can come up with a whole new generation of interracial children, that's less black people, that's less white people. How many black men do you see on TV with black wives? Not very many, very small. Because they don't want black Americans reproducing with black Americans. They don't want the man in the house. True or false? That happened in the late 70s, early 80s. They took the man out of the house. Now you got these black women that get paid based on how many children they have and no man in the house. Then they manipulate the law, say, hey, crack cocaine's different punishment than regular cocaine. Your courts have been feeding off it. The courts ain't friends to the white Americans. Good heavens, no. We don't plead. I went through the whole thing. Went through my first DUI at 51 years old. I got 60 days in the county jail. I said, Your Honor, I've never been in trouble. I started a faith and character in the Department of Corrections. I was in law enforcement 12 years and hated everything I seen. A lot of them old boys in prison and women in prison were glad to see me. They absolutely loved me, man, and that's what I liked most about that job. I didn't get paid a lot, but man, I got to meet a lot of good people in prison that's just been done wrong. They're just giving away years. Hey man, 20 years ain't nothing. It's absolutely appalling to see people feed off the black Americans, but since I'm white, I can't talk about black Americans because then it's racist. I can't root on gay people because the LGBTQ will call me. I don't give a fuck about your sexual preferences, or I don't want to see it. I'm not going to celebrate months. Are you out of your fucking mind? This is mental health without boundaries. They're what they're doing to these children and removing their genitalia, etc., and giving them pills that, thank God my mom and dad didn't let me get a Batman face tattoo. You know what I mean? Oh my God. I'd look like a fucking idiot. By the time I turned 17, you know how much mental health? Can you imagine a young man with a Batman face tattoo? Who talked people into getting face tattoos and stuff? It's your demise. The same people that control the record labels. I like Jelly Roll. I just wish he'd have had a coloring book. Didn't draw all over his fucking self. Isn't that crazy? But I'm not allowed to talk about the LGBTQ. Then you're a homophobe. Fuck. Well, can we ask about the Jewish people, their histories, their religion, their enemies, their wars? Nope. You even ask a question. They're always the victim. They teach all the histories. They're in charge of fucking everything. People say, hey, that's hate speech. How can you hate somebody that's the leader of the world? They are the masters of the systems that they create. And who, on the backs of who's, they financed every aspect of slavery. Slavery's worldwide, and black people just think it was just them in North America. But black Americans, let me ask you something. If shit goes south in North America, what country would have you? We'll talk about the black American woman. What country would allow her in? Remember that one that went to Pakistan demanding everything? All that entitlement and fatigue? Then Pakistanis got rid of her ass within a week and said, never again. Where do black American women go? African Americans, that's not the same as black Americans. African Americans can't stand black Americans. Black American men. You just don't understand. And these people are feeding off of you, and you're their number one victim, and we're not allowed to talk about it.